So when you play Hunter Biden, you know, despite some of the, very difficult realities, of course, he's an addict, you actually portray him as a somewhat sympathetic character to my eye.
I think it's really important as an actor that an actor takes a dispassionate view of their character and doesn't judge their character at all, and that an actor's job really is one of the many small cogs in a creative wheel is to provide the humanity to the character. So I think it would be a much more boring piece of work if one was judging this human being rather than just trying to find the humanity. So Robert Darby, who directed it, was very, very keen to make sure it wasn't political posturing or the equivalent of, the sort of right wing equivalent of wokery, which is sort of vilification and hatred of this person. So we both thought, as the creative team, that it was really important that we made this a human story, even though it has global consequences once you consider it more broadly.
So you saw this script and you were eager to wade in. Do you understood the implications of starring in a film on such a politically charged topic?
Well, I already experienced the ramifications of having a view about anything nowadays. Way back in 2020, when I said that the UK wasn't a racist country, so I'm not sure what else could be thrown at me. I just leaped at the chance to do what I was trained to do at a great drama school in the UK, and then spent 22 years doing relatively incident-free. Was to put on my acting shoes again. So I wasn't too concerned about getting caught up in the politics of it, particularly, no, because politics, my politics are massively misrepresented, and as I said before, I just approach it as a creative task, something to get your creative teeth into, because politics doesn't feel very creative to me.
Well, so let's go back a little bit. Maybe tell me a little more about your background and your, what you've actually done, because for our viewers in the U.S., they might not be as familiar with you as many people in the U.K. would be.
Right, yes. So I went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, which is a wonderful drama school in England. Sadly, now is sending out emails apologising for its own systemic racism. And I worked on a television show called Lewis, or I think in America it's called Inspector Lewis, which is on PBS. And I did 10 seasons of that and became quite popular in the UK. I then finished that show because it had run its course, and I'd realised I'd been doing it for more than a quarter of my life, and I wanted to try something new. And I was also doing music at the same time, and I'd written a song about how upside down the world was. In the process of promoting this song, I was invited on a political panel show called Question Time in the UK, and the topic of Meghan Markle, our favourite member of the royal family, or ex-member of the royal family, as we seem to see now, came up, and a woman in the audience said that Meghan Markle had been hounded out of the United Kingdom because of the fact that we were a very racist country. And I begged to differ with her, and I said, no, I think she'd been hounded out of the United Kingdom because the people of the United Kingdom didn't like her narcissistic opportunism. I was then told that I wasn't allowed to have that view because I was a white, privileged male. And I said that was a racist comment, to use immutability to deny someone their right to an opinion. And after that happened, my phone exploded, and along with it, my acting career. And I was denounced immediately by the British Actors Union Equity. That's so appositely called Equity. They called for me to be denounced, like the Salem witch trials. And within 24 hours, my acting career as I'd known it was over. My agent hung on for another 6 months, but then with repeated internet pylons, she gave up the ghost as well. So I ended up in a position where I didn't have a job, I was unable to support my family, but was still very awake to the idea that free speech was being so deeply suppressed, certainly in the UK, which is provably one of the most tolerant and welcoming countries on earth, I think behind Canada and New Zealand. And so I started a political party, which is now more of a political movement, because political parties are pointless in the British first past the post system. And yes, I find myself trying to tell everyone that without free speech we don't have a democracy.
Well, that's quite the career trajectory, for lack of a better term. Um, Let me ask you this: many people, upon being, denounced in the way that you were by your, the association, I suppose, that's supposed to protect you, I guess, will turn around and apologize in, a very specific form. Did you ever contemplate doing that? Because, it can kind of prevent the cancellation, or I guess that's what people would believe.
No, I didn't. Is the short answer, and I didn't for two reasons. And the first being the fact that I have principles, and I'm also I really truly am a patriotic person, and I love this country, and I love what's great about it. So I'm not going to make up a fake apology or a mea culpa. And secondly, I think to apologise to people that have malevolent intent towards you is essentially to beg while being dragged to the scaffold. And I think if you're going to be hung and digitally removed and executed, then you might as well do it with your head held high. So no, apology wasn't top of my list. And also I hadn't said anything I thought that was remotely controversial. So I didn't see why I should have apologised for it.
I'm going to go to something that Gina Carano, in the character, she of course plays this Secret Service agent in the film. She says at the beginning, I think she says, "None of this is true except for all the facts." And this is sort of, this idea comes through I guess the entirety of the film, and there's all sorts of information that, as far as I can tell, aside from the sort of stylistic details, is true. And I thought makes it a kind of a very unusual film, actually.
Yes, and you would have thought, my mind was always cast back to the films like JFK or W, or, those Oliver Stone films, which really try to investigate and interrogate political, inconsistencies and things that need to be examined and explored, and would make for good dramatic content. So I was hugely surprised that Hollywood itself wasn't interested in looking at this. Well, I wasn't hugely surprised. We all know why Hollywood doesn't want to look at this, but I thought there's real dramatic spectrum here. It's almost as if the Hunter Biden story was made for cinema. And for two journalists and filmmakers to come along and have to crowdfund the budget for this film, and to put it together on such a shoestring, and to get it out before mainstream culture has even accepted the veracity of this laptop, I thought was an incredibly brave and interesting thing to do. And I think it's great. I mean, if it's the last job I ever do, which at the moment it looks like it is, I'm proud of it.